My name is Jim Rogers. I'm an international investor, I guess is what I do. I do whatever I can to keep myself solvent. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't know it had been studied and been proven. You know, the neem tree is a miracle. I can see why in India it's known as the local pharmacy. What I don't understand is why nobody's exploited this more before, because the UN or somebody called it the tree of the 21st century, and it clearly is going to be. What I cannot figure out is why it hasn't been exploited before, because it really is a miracle. It's too good to be true, except it's true. Investing in neem plantations are, it seems to me, a very, very, very good thing to do. There's no question about that. And if the execution is competent, somebody's going to make a lot of money. I mean, this tree, this product has a great future. I've read of the same studies that you have, that we're all using too many antibiotics. They're all synthetic, as you well know, and that the insects, the bad guys, work up an immunity to all these antibiotics which we're using. So if there's something natural, then of course it's a much better situation, and you don't have to worry about the overuse of antibiotics. You're just using natural stuff, which nature has provided to all of us. I now know that the neem cake is a natural product for animals, for cows especially, so that you don't have to inject them full of all these artificial antibodies. You just feed them this stuff that comes out of the trees. It's astonishing what the studies have shown. Since these products, the cake, the neem cake, is antifungal and antibacterial, I mean, it's natural. I know my wife is going to buy all the food products she can when she finds out about this, because one of the things that she doesn't like to buy, and we don't eat, you know, a lot of meat that's stuffed full of antibacteria. So my wife is going to buy everything she can till she finds out that cattle can be fed a natural product from nature, and it has the same effect as injecting all this stuff into cows. My wife's going to love it. I can't wait to tell her. The neem tree, according to the studies, produces all sorts of products, from cosmetics to animal feed to everything else. It is an astonishing tree, according to the studies, and I don't know why everybody doesn't plant a neem tree in their backyard. I mean, this thing is a miracle. And I presume that if done properly, somebody's going to make a huge amount of money from the development of neem trees and neem products, because there's so many products. Who knows what this tree is going to produce? The neem tree and the neem products, according to the studies which I have seen, have an enormous future. And if the execution is proper, and I don't know any reason it wouldn't be, somebody's going to have a great investment here. Now, unless there's something I don't know, but it doesn't seem to cost more to plant a neem tree than any other kind of tree. The neem trees are pretty resistant. It's not as though you have to worry too much about insects or other pests coming and destroying the trees. I mean, I don't see why everybody doesn't plant neem trees. And I suspect someday they will, once it becomes evident how profitable the tree is and how profitable the products can be. And now I hope I know a lot more about neem trees than I used to, and the potential there is. Everybody should plant neem trees. These neem trees are natural pesticides, and they're pest resistant themselves, and they seem to put pesticides into the soil naturally. If you read about neem trees, you'll be astonished, and the products and everything else. They're fire resistant. I mean, they're amazing trees. I just don't understand why they haven't been exploited before. I wish I had been smart enough to think of it 40 years ago or 30 years, anytime. 2 years ago. Everything indicates that it's going to change a lot of the world as we know it. My wife buys everything she can that's organic, and I know that a lot of people do as well. There's a huge demand for organic products at my house alone, so I know there's great demand, and it's continuing to grow because more and more people are worried about artificial everything, and they want organic. theory, yes, of course, organic is better. My household, we buy a lot, everything we can that's organic. We have young children and we want to make sure that they don't get stuffed with all of this artificial stuff. I don't know, maybe in 50 years somebody will say, organic's bad for you. I don't know, but it doesn't matter because in the meantime, the demand continues to grow. Brazil has always been an agricultural nation. It's got huge size, if nothing else. It's got water, it's got plenty of water. It's got plenty of rich soil. So, of course, Brazil is going to continue to be a supplier of agricultural products and probably more in the future than now because many countries are just, for whatever reason, some of the traditional places like Ukraine are losing their productive capacity for a variety of reasons. So no, Brazil, unless they do something foolish, is going to continue to be a major agricultural nation. The world's going to need more than one breadbasket because population is growing and prosperity is growing, and so people need more clothes, they need more food, they need more everything. It will not be the only breadbasket of the world, but unless they do something foolish in Brazil, the country's going to continue to prosper agriculturally. Brazil is certainly an emerging market. The problem with Brazil is it's never quite lived up to its potential because the people who have been running Brazil for the last 200 years have not been terribly competent. It does seem to be getting better. It certainly gets, in my experience of coming to Brazil for over 40 years, they certainly are becoming more aware of the outside world and interacting more with the outside world. So let's hope that the people running Brazil continue to improve. Brazil has huge natural resources, which is in a natural resource scarce world. That's an advantage. That's a huge advantage. If you find the right opportunities, of course, you're going to make a lot of money in Brazil. The people who run Liquid have had the foresight to see the great opportunities that agriculture will present in the next decade or two or three, and let's hope that their execution is as good as their vision. Agriculture presents great opportunities now. It hasn't always been the case, but we're in a period now where the world is consuming more than it's producing. The inventories are near historic lows for many products. But worse than that, we're now running out of farmers. Farmers are basically all over the world very old people. Young people are not coming into agriculture because it has been a terrible business. So the agriculture has got to become much more exciting and profitable, or we're not going to have any food at any price, which is very highly unlikely to happen. So it's a great opportunity at this particular point in history. It's not always a great opportunity, but at the moment it's going to be good for a decade or two. All asset classes at the right time are very attractive, but nothing can be attractive all the time. At some point, stocks are attractive, bonds, currencies, commodities, agriculture. It just depends on where we are in the cycle. But when supply and demand get out of whack for anything, you should invest in it. And supply and demand for agriculture are now out of whack. And that's why it's a great opportunity. I think that one should find the good opportunities and invest in them. Whether they're emerging markets or developed markets is irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. I look for the best opportunities and then try to focus and invest there. You have to understand currencies or you should not be invested. Currency is very important to any investment that you make. Do your homework and I think you will find what I have found, and that is that supply and demand are getting out of balance and that there are great opportunities in agriculture now. But don't do it unless you've done your homework. Don't rely on me, don't rely on you. Do your homework and I think you will find what I have found. I've read of the same studies that you have, that we're all using too many antibiotics. They're all synthetic, as you well know, and that the insects, the bad guys, work up an immunity to all these antibiotics. To be true, except it's true. Investing in neem plantations are, it seems to me, a very, very, very good thing to do. There's no question about that. And if the execution is competent, somebody's going to make a lot of money. I mean, this tree, this product has a great future. My name is Jim Rogers. I'm an international investor, I guess is what I do. I do whatever I can to keep myself solvent. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't know it had been studied and been proven. You know, the neem tree is a miracle. I can see why in India it's known as the local pharmacy. What I don't understand is why nobody's exploited this more before, because the UN or somebody called it the tree of the 21st century, and it clearly is going to be. What I cannot figure out is why it hasn't been exploited before, because it really is a miracle. It's too good.